Today we're talking about the Mirror of Erised. We stumble across this mirror in the first movie and in the first book of the Harry Potter series. He comes in front of the mirror and sure enough, he looks in and finds out that it's him surrounded by his family. He gets Ron and shows him. And Ron shows up and he sees himself as head boy and Quidditch captain and respected and apart from all of his other million brothers. Dumbledore tells us that the mirror shows our desires. The question is whether or not these desires are real or maybe even possible. Dumbledore warns Harry not to dwell in front of the mirror because it gives us neither knowledge nor truth.
So we know the mirror shows you things that you don't have, that you want, but the question is whether you can even have those things or whether it's just whether or not you think you can have those things.
Well, Ron sees himself as head boy, Quidditch captain, adored by his family. However, as we come to find later in the series,
Ron is a prefect and he's Quidditch captain, so he gets what his dreams are. He only thought he couldn't get them.
But do we know if it's dangerous or not?
The mirror seems dangerous because a lot of men have wasted away and died in front of it, but it's not really.
The mirror has the potential to show you the best person you can be. Whether or not you can actually obtain it is yet to be seen, but it gives you a goal of something to attain to.
So you can either sit there,
or you can look at it and do something about it.
Unfortunately, most people don't do this. Actually, it's really a lot like Facebook.
We all have Facebook, we all love Facebook, we all hate Facebook.
Where you look at those people that you used to be friends with but you're not really anymore, and you're like, man, their lives are awesome. Look at all that cool stuff that they're doing. And look at how much my life isn't like that all the time.
But what we don't think about is that we don't post the horrible things that happen to us in our lives on Facebook. We just post the happy things.
We only get to see the good stuff ever, and that's kind of what the Mirror of Erised does. You think that it can never be that good.
But that's the challenge the mirror presents. It is up to you to figure out how to attain this ideal self. So when you think about it, this mirror is really a commentary on technology. It's kind of like those dang people at Apple. Every time you think you have the next great technology, they come out 5 minutes later with the new iPhone, or the new iPad, or the new Mac whatever. We're never satisfied.
So it's just like the mirror. You always think that you want what you can't have, and as soon as you get it, you don't want it anymore.
We see Harry and Ron's views in the mirror as they are first year at Hogwarts. But what about as they get older? Will their visions change?
Because Ron gets all of his dreams.
And in a way, Harry gets a family. He finds a family in Ron, and his family, and Hermione. Our conclusion is that image in the mirror will change as you grow older. Let's get into the deep stuff. So when you think about it, Harry's desire almost seems more deep-rooted and important than Ron's. But
Ron was really the smart one.
Ron's always looked down upon. He's kind of like the comic relief throughout the entire book. So we focused on the negatives of the mirror. But it's not all a dark side.
There's also a light side to this. The mirror can be used to transcend that kind of superficial stage, the ethical stage, as Kierkegaard calls it.
We see Harry transcend into the ethical stage numerous times throughout the book. We can see this when he deals with the mirror at the end of the first book. He gets the Sorcerer's Stone because he wants the stone, but not to use it.
Quirrell couldn't get it because he wanted it for the wrong reasons. He wanted it for the pleasure that would come. Harry wanted it to protect everyone else, so he wanted it not for his own sake, but for others.
The aesthetic is pleasure for pleasure's sake.
But the ethical is pleasure in saving others. This whole ethical question is kind of like that whole standpoint of saving someone from a grenade, you know? If he runs out of the room, he'll save himself. If he jumps on the grenade, he saves all of his friends.
Don't do it! Harry jumps grenades left and right. First, Harry jumps the grenade when he saves everyone from letting Voldemort have the stone.
And in book 7 or movie 8, Harry does the exact same thing. He sacrifices himself. He doesn't fight.
Which in the end leads to Voldemort's demise and Harry's rise to victory. What? This doesn't mean Harry's in the ethical sphere all of his life.
He also goes into the aesthetic.
Harry has the ability to transcend the aesthetic to the ethical when it's necessary. So we'll leave you with these words of advice.